Okay, that's now the Oberlander. So that's how we speak about hearing acapella music during Sefira.
Okay, now we are in the days of Sefira, which the meaning is rule is that we don't listen to music. We don't listen to music, we don't listen to musical tapes. So the question comes about, in the last couple of years, came out a lot of, it's probably every year comes out one or two CDs, which is called Acapella. There's no music in it. It's only people singing, because basically every tape, every musical tape, if you know how it works, is the Acapella singing for themselves, and then there's a mixing. They mix it together. So now they came up with a very easy idea. Why do we need to have the music? Take out the music and sell the same tape, the same music, the same tape with the Acapella. So the last couple of years, when it became popular, there are some which came out against it. That's also it goes into the category of the meaning is true that we don't hear music in the Sefira tape, and this is a thing which I want to discuss. Let's see the background from where the whole Indian of not hearing music comes, and then we're going to get to the Indian of Acapella. Now, the Kiddush Advurim is which basically want to focus is most of the Acapella music are slow music. It's like Neginas Oireres, Neginas Vadas, this kind of things. It's not, dancing music, because it's hard to have a Acapella with dance, but you could have it. Some of them came out already with dancing, but most of them are Neginas Oireres, Neginas Vadas. So the question basically is there a difference between these two or not? The Yisoda Yisoides of the meaning of to have a violence of in the Sfiras Oimer is not mentioned in a Chazal. It's not in Bavli, it's not in Yerushalmi. The first time we see it is a question with Reb Netruagon, one of the famous Go'onim, was asked a question. It's published in a set Sforim, it's called Oitzra HaGo'onim. It's not published in his Shivas. There's Shivas Reb Netruagon, but it's not over there. It's in Oitzra HaGo'onim. Some professor took from all kind of Shivas HaGo'onim which he found from manuscripts and all over, and he published it in according to Shas. So over there in the Shivas HaGo'onim, in Oitzra HaGo'onim, he has a shala like this. The question is like this: the Shisha'altem, Rabbi Natruagon writes for the Shoyel. You ask me, Lama ein mekachim v'lo konsim man Pesach l'tzeres. Why is there a meaning that we don't, we're not mekadosh, kedushin, and why aren't we marrying? Because once upon a time used to be eirisen, kedushin made the eirisen, and the chasana was later. And she was already a Aisha Zeish from Kedushin, the Chassan was afterwards. That's called Eiris Nasiyan. Although modern words we say Eiris when somebody gets engaged, but that's basically, it's nicht the emastic Sache. The Rebbe didn't want they should call Eiris, and he writes we should say Kishra, Uwe Kishra Shedichem. Akaponim, that was, so the Shala is, Loma ein konsin, I'm a kachim ein konsin by Pesach Latzeres. So the question is it the Isser or not? So he answers, Hava Yidu, Yoidin, you should know, Shalom Achmas Isser Nagmo. It's not an Isser, that means it's not a Zach which is, there's an Isser to marry in the Sefira. Eilo Machmas Minig Avayis. We accepted upon ourselves the Minig Avayis. Shekach Omri Chazal in Yevom Samach Beis, the famous Gemara, that 12,000 Zugim, the Rebbe Kiva had 24,000 Talmidim, and all of them passed away by Pesach Latzeres. al shloi nahagi kova zelze. Now, dem zu de Gemura, zoekt op dem de Rav Natruah Gon, im oise shova eilech, nahagi rishonim bayumam eili, shloi lichtas behem. Since there was such a tragedy, there was a epidemic, and all of them passed away. 24,000 Talmidim passed away. From them, there's a minhag that we don't marry by Pesach Latzeres. That's the time when they passed away. Now, kicking the Torah, how we make calculations, 33 days. If they died only 33 days, that's an extra Nikida. But that's the Nikida by Pesach Latzeres, we don't marry. Zuk the Rabbi like the Rabbi Tzvi, if a person did marry, you don't cancel him. Because since it's not a halacha, so you can't cancel him. Lo oynish malkas, lo oynish other oynishim. If you ask, look at say you don't marry in the Sefira, but basically you don't cancel a person which was married or made a condition. Fine. It's first of all we see an interesting thing. He writes the Lashon Ma'oisha Shova Eilech. That means it sounds killy. Was it Pashas Mashma, as it happened from the Maya Chazal. He says, Moise Shova Eilach Nahagi that you don't marry. That means, Moise Shova, when it happens, the Talmid for Rebbe Kiva, that means the Noam, that was the minute. This, by the Natruah Gon, this was brought by other Rishonim also. The Ritzgayas in his famous Svor Mishara Simcha, and he has the Lashon, in Minig B'chol Yisrael. He writes already, Minig B'chol Yisrael, Shloise by Pesach Latzeres, that we shouldn't get married between Pesach Latzeres. Im Shima Vailes, Loi Mishim Issa. Mamash quotes almost Rebbe Natruah's Lashon. And also, he writes also, Im Oise Shuva Eilach, I'm not in the minute that you're not married, you're not going to marry. In this, Lamasa goes down all the Rishonim afterwards, the Shpira Leked, with Avud Raham, with the Rosh, with the Tashbas, all of them comes with this Rebbe Natruah. The Torah brings it also in Simon Tov Tzadik Gimel, which that was the Simon of Sefira. And the Machaber Pascha says, Lahagin, there's a minik, Shlolissa, by Pesach Latzeres, ad like boim. There's a minik, just to be madayik, if you see the Rishonim said by Pesach Latzeres, the Machaber writes, ad like boim. He already cuts down a little bit, he said to like boim. In Mitnai Oises Man, Shoises Man, the Talmid Rebbe Kiva passed away. Good. So we look at the Natruah Gon, we see that there was a minhag not to marry Tisha Pesach Shvius. We don't see taking a haircut. We don't see all other minhagim which we have today's day. You shouldn't put on new clothing. You shouldn't say a shechion. All these things we don't see in the Rishonim. We only see one thing, that basically we are not going to marry in the Sefira take. Okay. It is only afterwards we see the first person in the Rishonim. Some Rishonim we start seeing in Minik Toiv, a Sefer Minik Toiv, one of the later Rishonim. He brings down a Lashon, the L'chayna Hagel Legadal Sofam Adatzeres. He brings already that you don't take a haircut. And the same is also the Tzayda Derech. The later Rishonim, they added on, you don't take a haircut. L'chayna Hagel Shvali stop. You don't take a haircut. By us it's very chumar, haircuts, even more than chasana, because chasana we will make like boim, or even says shlosh me'egbola. But nobody's going to take a haircut till Erev Shavuos Mamash, and that's because of the Arizal, the Maidim, other reason why we have this thing. Same thing is also not to put on begodim, nu begodim. Is the first one which we see who errat was the Trimas Hadesh. And as a machlokes, if it's mitzad shechion and mitzad nechiyun, but Acapella, we see basically there was an iser, the ikar minik, which is in brought down Shechanor Pesach, is the Mekidus Advurim that we don't marry in Sefira take. Good. Now, from the Rishonim in Shechanor, it's mentioned that we don't make a Nisuin. But we could make Avala Ayras and a Kaddish Mitter. Making a condition, it's mutter. In Kemiv and Avad Be'os, in our making a Shidduch, there's no problem. Good. Now, comes the Mungan Avruam, after the Shechanur brings down this minik, comes the Mugen Avroam in Sifkot Aleph, and he says like this: Venerally, the mutter lasses boise pam sidas eiresen. If you make a eiresen, that means you makadosh a lady which you are permitted to do, because Shem Yekad Achar, one says that you're matter because somebody else will chap owes this girl. Zoekt over dem over the Mungavruam, the mittel lasses boise pam sidas eiresen. Since you can make the eiresen, you could also make a suda. You make a suda eiresen. Avalas, I want you should listen to the words, because I want to come also here to see the illusion showing Azul from the Alter Rebbe how he learns up different than most other poskim. The Mugaron writes like this: Manerally, the mutter lasses boise pam sidas eiresen. We are permitted to make a sidas eiresen after you made the eiresen. You can also make the suda. Avalas is rikidem me machoyle shereshis nahagel essen. You can make a sidas eiresen, but you cannot make rikidem me machoyles shel reshis. That's awesome. Venerally, the af mish use shiduchim also lasses rikidem me machoyles. So it's very interesting how to see how the Mungavrum writes it. He writes like this: you can make a suda. Can you make rikidem me machoyles by the sidas eiresen? He doesn't say. He says you can make a sidas eiresen, but you could not make rikidem mechoiles shel reshus. So basically, what do we see from this verse? Bepashtas, you cannot make rikidem mechoiles. You cannot make rikidem mechoiles by the way means dancing. Dancing. You cannot have dancing by the sidas reshus, but the sidas eiresen, it's mutter. I think in pashtas aus. And he adds on, venerally the mishu was a shiduchim. Shiduchim is only like we do, only you finish the shidduch, but you don't make eiresen. Also last the kidem mechoiles. It's much within the Rush and Bachlal, from the Mungavron, that basically asidas eiresen, you could have a kidem mechoiles. And this is how the Eliarabba. What? Because it's a mitzvah. This is how the Eliarabba learns Pshat Mungavron, the Machtza Shekel Prima Gudem. And these are some achronim which want to be matter. The Reker Lubit has a tshiva, which he was asked, could you make a Chanosa Sefer Torah in the Sefira with music? And he says, yes, no problem. And some people are Michael and having music by Siddas Bar Mitzvah, because also of this, since Siddas Bar Mitzvah is Siddas Mitzvah, since by Siddas Eiresen, Pashtas is Mashma Finna Mungavrom, that you can have a Kidem Mechoilim, it's only also Siddas Kidem Mechoilim Shal Reshus, or the Kidem Mechoilim Shal Siddas Kedishim, because that's also not Mitzvah. In Mashma Siddas Mitzvah, you can have a Kidem Mechoilim, and that's why some are Michael by Mitzvah to have music, Machnos Sefer Torah, to have music. That's the Pshat how again, Eliarabba, Prima Gudem, learns Pshat Mungavron. Alter Rebbe learns different. Alter Rebbe writes like this. Also, Simon Tuf Tzadi Gimel, Sif Aleph. Alter Rebbe writes like this. Rekidim mechoilem, oser, afille basidas eiresen, veshiduchem, vekolshken shel reshus. It's also eiresen, sidas eiresen, sidas shiduchem, which is Shidas Eiresen is a mitzvah, vekolshken shel reshus. So he took away basically all the boys who didn't have music in the Sefira by Bar Mitzvah, because they were crying from the father. Oh, why did I have my friend have? You should know, in the Mechlababah Shechsiden, Alter Rebbe writes you cannot have music by Bar Mitzvah. So that's the reason why you can have. Now, if somebody else had music, okay, he passed us like the Eliarabba. But we, as the Mechlababah Shechsiden, as Alter Rebbe, must aveggestellt the Mungavrom different than the norm. What is the beer? What is the Svuras HaMachloikas? Just want to go in a mashi a minute. What is the Svuras HaMachloikas of Alter Rebbe, which by the way with the Alter Rebbe, like the Alter Rebbe writes it, also the Mishnah Berurah, right? Pasuk is also like that. Chok Yankov is mash mazoi. As we know, the Alter Rebbe in Hilchos Pesach, although in Bechral Shechanur, the Alter Rebbe was a big fan of the Mungavrom, as we know that Sof Yomon who was choizer, that he relied too much on the Mungavrom, but when it comes to Hilchos Pesach, the Alter Rebbe's Rebbe is the Chok Yankov. In this pshat is mashma be'erech hazoi Chok Yankov, and that's why the Alter Rebbe goes more than Chok Yankov, be the pshat the Mungavrum. What is basically Svuras HaMachloikas of this two pshatim? Now, the source of machlokes is like this. Sfiras Oimer has some kind of similarity to the Imaya Violets, which had the 3 weeks. Yeah? 3 weeks. It's not the same. It's more lenient than the Imai Bainam Sorim, but it has some kind of similarity to Imay Hamsorim. Now, in the Gemara in Yevamos, Mem Gimel Med Aleph, zoek dort in the Gemara, Shvur Shechal Boy Tisha B'Av has all kind of chumras. That's Shvur Shechal Boy, that's how the Svardim go. They're also only Shvur Shechal Boy, the B'Sasa Paskins, only Shvur Shechal Boy, therefore they have much more easier the 9 days, because half of the 9 days falls away. And if Tisha B'Av is Sunday, they have they have nothing. They have basically, it's not Shvur Shechal Boy, no, everything is made. Almost. So over there, in the Gemara, all the things which are also Shvur Shechal Boy, Tisha B'Av. Then the Gemara says, Koidem L'Zman Zeh, before that Zman, that means from Rosh Chodesh of, Hu'am Mamatim Beis Kaim. We don't work that hard. Some kind of Shnechas Udom or Shnechas of Mamatim Simcha. So therefore, we try, we don't do a couple of things. Zoekt over the Gemara, in Ma'arasim, we make that Ma'arasan. You can have irisin, but you cannot make seedless irisin. You see, over here is more chumar than, now over here, you see by the Mitzvah is more chumar than Sefira. Sefira, we said, everybody's masking that the Sefira is mutter to make seedless irisin. When it comes, but in the 9 days, it's up to them, the Gemara, in Azur Paskimir, you cannot, by ein oisen seedless irisin. Mashma, irisin you could do, but you cannot make the seedless irisin. En als we eens gepast in Shechanor, zijn we toefkief neem bijs, toefkief neem alf sief bijs, zoekt op dem de Shechanor kloor, you could make irisin, you cannot make seedless irisin. Why? Because the irisin itself, when I seed it's not that big simcha. So is Rashi Mas with the seed. So again, in the 9 days, you could make irisin, you cannot make the seedless irisin. Okay. Now we are connecting Sfiras Omer to Ben Hamtzorim. Are we Madama Ben Hamtzorim to Sfiras Omer to Ben Hamtzorim from the 9 days, or basically we are going a step further and we are connecting it to even before the 9 days from Shavuos B'Tamas? Yeah. Now comes the Mugan Avrom, and the Mugan Avrom is in Tov Kivnir Aleph writes that you cannot make a seedless irisin. Va'ain lasa seedless shidduchim, va'afilo b'loi mechirim mechoiles. Seedless shidduchim, you cannot make even without seedless mechoiles. The regid mechoiles yashreas medizayin b'tamas va'aylich. So what do we see for the room over here? There's 3 shlavim. Regid mechoiles, het zijn osser, dancing, het zijn osser for Shavuos b'tamas. From Rosh Chodesh of, we are going to aser also seedless irisin. In Kimivans, Shvi Shechal Boy is also everything. All the chimras which we have, you see this is also for Shvi Shechal Boy. Kim Tos, till Rosh Chodesh is also Kidva Mechoilas, but seedless irisin is mitte. So from Shavuos B'Tamas till Rosh Chodesh of, you could make a seedless irisin, but you cannot make a Kidva Mechoilas. From Rosh Chodesh of, and further on, you cannot make seedless irisin also not. The Alter Rebbe hat ugelernt, when we connect Sfiras Oimer to, we Madama Sfiras Oimer to Bein HaMetzorim, we are Madama Sfiras Oimer to Bein HaMetzorim from Shavuos B'Tamas all the way till Rosh Chodesh Nisan, till Rosh Chodesh of. So what do we see in Shavuos B'Tamas? You could make seedless irisin, and you cannot have the Kibbutz Chodesh. Yeah, that's Pshat. So therefore he says, he did Sefira. You could make seedless irisin, but you cannot make it Kibbutz Chodesh. So the Alter Rebbe said, Geschmack is a moving, because the Alter Rebbe hat ugelernt, we are connecting, we are Madama, Sfiras Omer to Bein HaMetzorim, from Shavuos B'Tamas to Rosh Chodesh of. And therefore, seedless irisin the Alter Rebbe matter, in not a Kibbutz Chodesh. The other person which learn the Mugan Avrom, they are Madama, Sfiras Omer till after Rosh Chodesh of. From after Rosh Chodesh of. And that's why they say, their machmer, as we mentioned before, as you cannot have Siddur Eires no so now. Because as in the Chodesh of, we just mentioned, in Paskin, you cannot have Siddur Eires. So therefore, sind es eigentlich ein Step weiter, so man kann auch Siddur Eires. The only question is, why, for us is a matter, the kid with Mechoilis. So, the Mugavrum is a bisschen schwer zu verstehen, wie sie die other points can lernen. Aber Akapurim, wie der alte Rebbe hat ugelernt, Pshat, hat ugelernt der Mugavrum, that the Mugavrum geht also wie der Gemurra, als mis Madame Sefira Oimer till the Chodesh Nissen, till the Chodesh Av, and therefore, you could make Siddur Eires, Mitte, no me Shakir with Mechoilis. Das ist Akapurim, der Kida, diese Masbet zusammen, Mechlokis zwischen Alter Rebbe and the other points regarding of Siddur Eires and Kida Mechoilis. Now we have no Zeichen over here of music. No Zeichen of music. Kida Mechoilis. You cannot make dance. You cannot dance. The Premagudam, he is the first who starts bringing up Klizemer. He brings already Klizemer and he says, Simetov Kivdin Alve writes that a person which is a musician, and that's his panosa, he says in such a case he could go be a musician. He doesn't have to give up his job and he can play music. Why? Because that's his panosa. So we have a killer. So over there we see that another person which is not basically a musician, it's also to hear Klizemer. Now Mesvur is this Mistaber because Klizemer makes the Indian of Simcha. So it's Mistaber Amazach Amatzigishtot that Klizemer has a connection to the Kidum Mechoilis, although the Kidum Mechoilis is nicht Klizemer. Aber Kapur, we can say the connection that since Klizemer is a thing which makes you basically have Simcha, makes you basically have dancing, and therefore Amatzigishtot that basically it's also Virachim Koilis. And Be'etim Mistaber is a Sach mehr because soft Klizemer Klishir is a Simcha Yisayra. And that's why we see Chazal B'chlal gestellt that after the Churban by Samigdash is a problem for hearing Klishir, as we know. So we should push it to hear Klishir. The poskim have a whole there's a lot of chuvas which go around. How could you play musical instruments or not? And there's Rav Osner in his tshuva holds you not. After Churban by Samigdash, it's also to play musical instruments. Now you can play music instrument chasana. Das klar, es chasana, simchas, aber es damals you cannot hear music because something of klishir is a thing which is basically gemacht for simcha. Therefore, man geaset klishir auch. Fine. And this is auch with the Mechasitz in his tshuva has a whole shiva. Somebody asked him, are we permitted to hear klishir, klizemer? From where do we see the Isra of klizemer and Sefira? And he goes through the Mugna Avram, the Kidmam Choilas, and he says, if the Kidmam Choilas dancing is also, the same thing as klishir is also, because klishir is a thing, is an object, a thing which makes the Kidmam Choilas, and therefore, so to speak, of all year round, we have a problem, how could we listen? But okay, don't matter give what comes to Sefira, basically, is sicher as it's also klishir. Fine? And this is only that you don't play with music instruments in the Sefira. But now, let's go a step further. Can you listen to a CD which has music? Okay, that's a new shlav. Can you listen to a CD, a disc, which has music or not? Is this considered a klizemer or nicht? Now there's a cheat. What? Why not? It shouldn't be.
It brings to dancing.
Ja, aber Matavei schon gesagt. Matavei schon makabel geworden klizemer. Also if you bounce sphere. So maybe when you see the Chakkes Yankin has a shaila, a very interesting shaila. It was years, 80 years ago. In the beginning, you know, the music used to be music on the radio. The radio used to have music. Somebody asked him, is it allowed to hear sphere? You can hear the radio. You know, it doesn't go into listen to radio b'chalal because he probably didn't know what it is. Today's days is the more nivelpeh with kfir. But I'm talking. Somebody asked this question. On the radio they play music. Am I permitted to listen to music over there? And he writes, why not? That's not kleshir. Chazal haben weggestellt kleshir. It's kein Schmachenei gesagt. Whatever Chazal said us that we are, it's awesome. It's a tatkona which we said. Kleshir, you cannot have kleshir. The question was not on Sefira. The question was all year round, basically. Because Chazal haben weggestellt that after the Chorban by some you cannot have kleshir. So he asked, could you listen to music on a radio, which is your own, it's not, so Chazal gave us a Gzaira. Chazal said, what is Asr? Asr is Kleshir. Anything which doesn't go in this category is not a problem. Therefore, I have no issue that you should hear on a Kleshir.
Why isn't the radio considered Kleshir?
Oh, these are some poskim which Asr, they want to say, what does it mean Kleshir? Kleshir means a machine which makes music. Now, what the difference is it that it's a piano which gives out music, or if it's a CD which gives out music. But on the other hand, I can understand there's a difference. The piano, gets the music itself. The CD is something which I recorded. So basically, it's a papagay, so to speak. It's an issue. The tape does not give out music. He tells us what somebody recorded. That's basically the machlokes. The other achronim say, what's the difference? That itself is the kleshir.
An electric piano is not.
Like piano is a normal kleshir. That's kleshir.
Live music is more.
Yeah, live music is not tape. No question.
Electric piano. The drum noise is not recorded.
The drum, but the other music is music which gives out.
It's a combination.
Yeah, fine. And it's interesting. I found that in Saboisa, and before Krieg, the question was over there. There was a shala, interesting shala. There's a person who has a problem with nerve system, and music relaxed him. Can he put on a tape recorder or something which they're gonna listen and Shabbos music that's gonna relax him? So he goes in this whole thing about even the whole Shabbos. He goes parat sich mit the ganze even the whole Shabbos in Yonan, but he doesn't mention. Wait a minute, so is there from Machal here music? Because they doch ugeleidt like the Chavkas Yankev that basically Lav Dafka just goes into the Geder of Klishir, which is basically Chazal Gasser. But in any case, Minig Yisroel, nicht der Gaya mit alle Teures, the Minig Yisroel, Klal Yisroel was Makabal on ourselves, and the Minig means a lot, that we don't listen to music which has a tape which has music. That's a part of the Tikkun. Good? That's part of the Tikkun. Fine. We could say, when was the minig? The minig is only on Sefira. The minig is a Sefira minig. It's not a minig all year round, because we see the minig was makabel all year round. The gabel all year round, we are listening to music tapes. Chachik there is a isser of the hearing shir. So don't man ugeleit like Yankev as the gabel all year round, it's not a problem. But Sefira, because after all Sefira comes, there's an inyan of menuka virus. So the inyan of mamap is on the simcha. So therefore, soft, musical tapes bring simcha. So therefore, Chazal, although it's not mentioned in Chazal, in Lagabel all year round, do Michael's on with musical tapes, but when it comes to Sefira, which is ganze Sefira is mat simcha. In the Navalis, what Makabel gewinnt der Indian, yes, that we are not going to hear music, and that's, let me make it clear, that's the Psak Achra, because that's the minig. That's the minig. Now let's go a step further. Now we have Acapella. Which Acapella basically is a person is singing on himself. By himself. So now a person singing by himself, there's no Isser. If you have 10 people singing themselves, who's the Isser? What Isser does it come? What?
They're more like instruments.
Why they're more?
The way they sing. Yes.
So what? It's a instrument. It's a human being who sings. A human being, if I am allowed to sing, could I play with a guitar myself? Is it Kleshir? Yes. Yes? Sefira I can play?
No.
Why? It's Kleshir.
Yeah.
Is the difference one person or 5 people? A band is also one person's meter? No. Kleshir is Kleshir. So you can clear that only a band is also.
Even if you change it.
What do you mean the change?
It's not match your voices.
Again, if are 5 people, is it different of if 5 people playing instruments or one person is playing instruments?
It's clear that
What?
modify the sound.
He hasn't got there yet.
No.
So the sound's not human voice. It's a computer generated sound. They play with the human sound.
So okay, this has to play sheet. No.
No,
Ich will herausbringen eine Kide. So nicht gleich, if a person himself is allowed to sing, 5 people themselves is also allowed to sing.
But
I hope since you can't here. What?
the whole reason why they made it you can't have play shares because you didn't want people to start dancing. So if
Oh, you're getting to my point. Okay, you're getting to my point. So my mind is as though listening to a cappella itself, there's no reason you ask it. There's no reason to ask it. Since there is a mitter, there's no problem. I should basically sing for myself. There's no problem that basically it is to have a clash here. Now we have to remember. I want to remind you again. From where does the whole Isser come? The Isser is the Mungan Avrom of Rekidim and Mechoiles. The Alter Rebbe brings also the ganze Isser is Rekidim and Mechoiles. They added on music. They added on because it brings simcha. So when it comes to the final, I would say, Be'etzem, and then I found that Shlomo Zalman says it clearly. Shlomo Zalman Lich Shlomo says basically even music, which is classical music, slow music, Negin is was with music, what ich gedacht sagen ist, because the whole Nekida comes from Nekid Mechoiles, and since the whole Nekid comes from Nekid Mechoiles is a thing which brings you to Nekid Mechoiles, that's a problem. So basically, classical music, slow music, there shouldn't be a problem. And I'm sure it's almost as mit Sadaluch is so, and and therefore, I had some shilas which people ask me, they're driving to Montreal, and they need to listen to some kind of music, because if not, they're going to fall asleep. And I said, okay, you could, but at least take the Guinness Values, because there is no basis of basic Tzikan Asen. It's a chimra, and again, the ganze Sache is gebot of Rekidim and Mechoiles is only a thing which Rekidim and Mechoiles. So even though you added on cliché, you added on a tape, you added on it, but else they have to go into the category of Rekidim and Mechoiles. L'imma zeh, aber the minig is nicht so. The minig is that even classical music, as the Shlomo Zalman says itself, classical music you would only listen. So therefore, don't go home over here to say we could listen to Neginas Vadis for music. We could hear slow music. We could hear Negina music in Mamash if it's Neginas Vadis. No, the minig is that we don't do that also. Okay, it's a minig. But when it comes to Acapella, we have to make a chilik. That will be the chilik. To have a Acapella, which is basically lebendige music, dancing music, and dancing Acapella, that is a problem. That is a problem for the Soimer. Because the whole Easter is a kid Mechoiles. Having vocal, when it is slow, Neginas Vadas, which most of them are, I don't see any problem. So to sum it up is like this. Can you buy a vocal tape, a vocal CD, and listen to Sefira? The answer is, if it is music, songs which are lebendige songs, you can't. If it is slow, quiet, ruhige music, Neginas Vadias, Neginas Eureres, yes you could. Could you do it in music? Mit Sadadin, Be'etzim ja, mit Sadaminig no. And why is it, again noch einmal? Because that's a Chungoyim for Chassanas. Then, in some Moisim gewähre Kidim HaMechoilas, because that's a Simcha. Then, Moisim gewähre a Sach, was brings in Kidim HaMechoilas, which is music, fine. But it has to go some kind of that category of Kidim HaMechoilas. So therefore, to sum it up, Capella music, which is classical, slow Guinness Vadias, is a thing which you could rely and you could listen it in Sfiras Oimer, and but not not music mamash. Yeah.
what about like a story that has music in it? First of all, the whole point is not the music, it's the story. And second of all, I don't think you just get up and start dancing if you're listening to a story.
And usually it's slow. This is a shayla which the poskim asked already by Chmai Rafil Harav. Because there was like Chazonos. They had the same question by Chazonos. Chazonos basically is it's all background. It's background music. It's not the music itself. Yeah, Chazonos is basically the ikon is the Chazan's voice and the background music. And Rav Brick, I say my kid. Al Kapunim is Sfiras Oimer. I was spoken now to Sfiras Oimer. I'm not going now to Bein Tzurim because over there is a little bit more Chumar. Al Kapunim finish Chodesh off. I'm going about Sefira Omer, since I showed you how the whole development went, and the ganze concept is the Kid Mechoilas, is stuck in such a case you listen to a tape which has a story, and there's some kind of background music, nicht gefährlich. Allein darf es stuck
In the car, you're actually going to start dancing.
You what?
Someone's driving the car.
Es ist nicht der Geil, es ist der Sache allein. Oiver Kid Mechoilas, das hat man geaßt, aber Kid Mechoilas, it does the gators, geht an the gators. Es ist nicht der Geil, but if somebody listens Harav, and he's not going to start dancing, you know, as Murish Choyre Diger, as is to live a connection, and he's gonna... Now, se du eine von der Babische Bunnen mit der Zesur, muss er dann tak es afalio. Kein problem. Weil er ist nicht in der Matze, was he wants to listen because he wants to in a größer Ruf, und ich kann hören, was für wie er kennt. Dann machen wir nicht in der Matze für die Kinder, aber that's already going splitting hairs in Sachen, was streichliche Genorig. Das ist schon, es ist doch, ich bemaske mal, der Milling ist nicht so, but he wants to say that somebody is depressed or somebody is, kann man einfach sagen, okay, ich kann hören.
What if somebody that can't dance?
Oh. Ja.